Hello, hello, hello. Greetings, beautiful souls. I am Alicia, Bharani Matahari, the Heart Whisperer. If you are a returning subscriber, welcome back. It is so delightful to have you and to be with you again. Drop-ins and newcomers, welcome, welcome. Also, thank you for being here and sharing your time and energy with me. Today, we are doing another pick a card reading. And today we are looking at you won't believe how life is about to change for you. So we've got 3 piles today. Pile number 1, you have this gorgeous carnelian crystal and this soul card. Pile number 2, you have the carved rose quartz crystal. And you have this soul card. Pile number 3, you have our lovely friend, the malachite crystal. And you have this soul card. These are timeless readings, so take a deep breath. Ask your inner being which pile or piles resonate for you. Timestamps are in the description box and in the comments for those of you on your phones. And I will see you at your piles. Bye. Welcome to your reading pile number 1. You chose this stunning piece of carnelian. And you also, some of you chose by the card, which is this gorgeous soul card. I'm filming this in August 2026, and we've just had Lionsgate. We've also had a solar eclipse. There's a lot happening astrologically, so it's a very potent time and a very strong energy. Now, this reading is timeless, but it is looking at what you won't believe how much your life is about to change. These potent energies that are being unleashed either at this time, and when I mean at this time, I mean around August 2026. So you can look back to August 2026 if you're watching this down the road, or it can also refer to a potent shift that's happening in your astrology and in your timeline at the time of viewing, or it could be both. You'll know from your own experience, so it'll be different for each and every one of you. So with the soul card, I'm just going to pop that here. And you also have the card of compassion. And you also have the card of Hasta. Hasta is solely in Virgo. It is one of the nakshatras. And Virgo is associated with Mercury energy. And the symbol is the hand. And it's known for being very dexterous. And Virgo is also I analyze. So there's a real strong I analyze. There's a real technical consciousness, but also how things are done, if that makes sense. There's a real idea of the golden-handed star. I'm getting Midas touch. So the energy that you put into something, the invisible energy, your thought process, how you deconstruct it, how you construct it, how you put something together has this golden-handed touch to it. The power to manifest and place it in one's hand, which is interesting because we also have in the soul card, we have this head, which again is giving that thinking energy, that thought energy, that manifesting energy, because first it is in the ethers, it is pure potential, it is the void, and then it becomes a thought, or it becomes an impulse, and then it becomes thought form, and then we interact with thought form, and then we can bring it forth into 3D. So the compassion card is also really giving me very strong heart chakra energy. And heart chakra energy is the air element. So we've got air here for the thoughts, higher mind, the full mind. It's giving collective to me, plus it's also giving your individual aspect. So it's giving consciousness, essentially. And then Virgo, also associated with Mercury. Mercury is air energy also, and it's energy of the mind, but it's that the mind and bringing it into 3D and bringing it into fruition. And with the heart energy, the heart's also the air chakra. So in order to bring something from the heart, we need to have heart and mind coherence. And we also need to have clarity in our heart, clarity in our thoughts, so that we are able to bring forth what we want to bring forth in a purer way. Heart also is that portal between the 3D and the other side of the veil. It's that intersection, the portal between the earthly, the worldly, the temporal, and the spiritual. Really, really beautiful energy. And it is the last of the energies of the earthly chakras, let's say, of the earthly elements. And then it moves into throat chakra, which is the first of the ether chakras, of the 7 chakras. I also have these cards, which are new, so I'm very excited to use them in your reading today. And I'm going to pull one from each pile. I've pre-shuffled everything because we will be here for a really, really long time, and just see what is going on for you. So first of all, we've got new moon energy. Beautiful. So new moon, I believe we've also had a very potent new moon as well around this time. So I feel like you're seeding something at this stage, but in a new way. And what I mean by that is you might have tried seeding something particular and it didn't seem to take root before, but it actually did. You were doing a lot of work on the unseen, and the new moon is also giving me high priestess energy. So with her eyes closed, and then in the background in the traditional Rider-Waite, you see the pomegranate. So she knows all, she sees all, and she sees the unseen, and she is the master of the unseen. And then her counterpart, which would be the magician, is the culmination of the 4 elements. So that idea of you having all of the tools to bring forth what you want to manifest. And I'm talking about really on a soul level, on a purpose level, something that's so intrinsic to you that you couldn't even change it if you wanted to, because it's kind of what your soul is here to do. And of course, you're going to have consciousness and free will and expansion, and you're going to have your practices, chop wood, carry water, your emotional hygiene, your spiritual hygiene, you're taking care of your body, all that kind of good stuff. And what you bring forth is basically a new version of you 2.0. We have got square energy here, planets at 90 degrees of separation. So I feel like you're moving from this internal conflict area, and it would be worth looking into your chart to see what energies are squaring for you. And then anyone that's in opposition to you also, that is coming up against you, or that is really trying to be in your face or hold you back, they might have things going on in their chart that are just bumping up against things in your chart. And you have the first house. So this is Aries energy, planet Mars, and that is all about the self. And what's interesting to me is I'm seeing this figure inside what also looks a little bit like a crystal ball, but it's the top of a face. And I'm seeing the water pool out, like ripple out, and that to me is consciousness. There's like it's got magician energy here, where your new version of you in your consciousness is having an awakening, having a realization first of who I am. Mars is this body that I inhabit, like a new understanding of what I can do in this body. I feel like a lot of activations in the body will really help you with this power to manifest and place it in one's hand. So a real strong ability to bring that which you're trying to manifest into 3D in a way that helps you recognize what your past maybe obstacles or resistances were, and also what you might be perceiving around you by other people's inability to be able to either understand, support, or grasp what it is that you're trying to move forward. And that's their journey, it's not yours. Interesting. We talked about the high priestess. So from the planet section of this deck, we've got the moon. So we've got, again, that idea of the unseen. We've got the whole moon series, but to have double moon here is very, very strong. So very, again, bringing your intuition. I feel like it coming down into your body. You may have an awakening like, oh, I didn't know I felt this way about X, Y, and Z. I didn't know that this is who I truly am. Just a real strong connection to your soul's journey and who you are, but maybe feeling it very viscerally through your body. And then with the signs, we have Aquarius energy. So Aquarius is the water bearer. We were seeing the water here, or we were seeing that energy, and it's reminding me of how water is that primordial substance. Water is an allegory also for different I don't want to say dimensions, but different realms almost. And I'm seeing in Dune when Jessica and Paul meet the Fremen for the first time, and they agree, like they talk in terms of water. Water is life. We will mix our water with your water. So there's a real, and Aquarius is to do with humanitarian. It's also Piscean energy was that energy of kind of parent-child paradigm. And now we're moving more into the Aquarian, more Atlantean frequencies, where where it's more collaborative. It's more for the highest and greatest good of all. That kind of energy. Let's pull some tarot cards and go a little bit deeper, but it's really, really beautiful. It's very much an expansion in consciousness, but an expansion in consciousness that is very skillful, and to be able to ground it down into 3D. Really gorgeous. And the sun. This just popped up. It was the one card that was facing up in the whole card. So again, that's Mars to sun energy. It's really, again, experiencing your own soul, your own self through how you're existing in 3D. We've got the Six of Cups. That is Sun in Scorpio. Transformation, a transformation of yourself, a transformation in how you view yourself and how you interact with your own self. That sounds kind of stupid, but how you interact with your own thoughts, how you interact with your own feelings, how you interact with the sensations in your body. Let's say, I'll give you an example. Let's say, for example, that you were somebody that had like CPTSD and deal with a lot of anxiousness. And then you learn when the sensations in your body come up, then you're able to recognize them and you're able to skillfully manage them in a direction that actually serves your highest and greatest good. We've got bravery here, which is the Seven of Wands, which is the defensiveness card. So you might have had in the past had to defend yourself, or you might have felt, I'm getting more that you felt defensive because I feel like you were ahead of your time. I feel like you might have had others, again, not understand you, but you've always been kind of a little bit marching to the beat of your own drum. It's star energy. You were a guiding light for people. And in this card, it's showing that it's firefighters. So you might have had to put out a lot of fires for people. And maybe when you retracted your energy and you focused more on yourself, that people might have come against you, and people might have not understood that you actually, by tending to your own consciousness, by tending to your own body, by tending to your own heart and your own mental space, and the amount of work that you were doing that was unseen to them, that they might have projected a lot of competitiveness. In the traditional tarot, the Seven of Wands is somebody who's above the others, and they're kind of being poked at by the people who are below them. So I feel like you've been around, you're, again, star energy. You had an elevated consciousness, but because people didn't understand it, they may have thought you came across as aloof. Aquarians can be kind of aloof, so they could have thought you were aloof. Or with the square energy, they might have just thought that you were being, obtuse and kind of full of yourself, which you were not. And they didn't recognize what you were doing behind the scenes, and how sensitive you are, and how much you needed to also tend to yourself. You don't exist to put fires out for other people. And I feel like people are looking back. I feel like your inner child is really happy and coming out to play. You've got the sun and the moon here. So we've got the masculine and the feminine. You've got the internal and the external. You've got the light, and you've got the, I don't want to say the dark. I want to say the light and the void, the pure creation. You've also got conflict here, again, above the square, which is 5 of fire, which is 5 of wands. So again, we have that competitive energy. As you're shifting and changing, and you're maybe, what I'm seeing is a rocket ship. And when the rocket ship is breaking the atmosphere, like it's very turbulent, it needs a booster shot, and then it goes off out into space. You might have people trying to pull on your energy just to keep you held back, because you're accelerating at such a pace that you're reaching for the stars. You're going galactic. Describe it however you want. And it's interesting. This is the 6 of air. We've got a lot of air energy. 6 of air, that's moving to calmer waters. So, and we were just literally talking about, and this is a satellite, obviously, but we were just talking about like breaking through the Earth's atmosphere, that you have that turbulent and gravity is pulling you down. And the gravity of conflict and people not understanding and not wanting you to leave could be trying to pull at you. But this is a card of moving to calmer waters, and out beyond that turbulence, there is that peace and there's that serenity. And you're a satellite for other people. You're able to beam information and energy back to other people. You're radiant like the sun, but it doesn't mean that you need to be in conflict with them. And what is the moon? The moon orbits the earth orbits the sun. The earth is a satellite. We were talking about earth energy here also, I believe. I meant to, if I didn't. It also is giving the earth orbiting the sun. So the earth is a satellite to the sun, but the moon is a satellite to the earth. So that translating, projecting, receiving energy, receiving information and energy, and projecting it back. We have a lot of solar activity that is happening right at the moment. And a lot of scientists are calling a lot of the energy that they're observing as unprecedented as well. And wow, the Fool. So that is, again, Aquarian energy, which is reiterated. So you're really on and it speaks to the reading. You won't believe how much your life is about to change. I feel like all of how you were and how you've been is really coming together for you. and you're moving into just an elevated state of cohesiveness and cohesion of your own energy. Life is accelerating so fast at the moment that with the age of Pisces falling away, dissolving, I'm seeing that scene in Inception, the movie, where they go down to save the person that they want to save, and you can see the whole city is crumbling and they're on the beach and it's just all crumbling and dissolving. So that's very much happening in the collective, where a lot of old structures, again, that patriarchal, more not male versus female, but patriarchal as in parent versus child, leader follower, into a more Aquarian, we're all adults in the room on a consciousness level. So I'm seeing a lot of that dissolve in my mind. And I feel like you're a pioneer, you're a leader, star energy, you're a light for other people to be able to, you've broken the atmosphere first, probably in a lot of communities. You probably either, if you don't have an online presence and a community that follows you, for example, where you're teaching or you have some version of elder role, it could be formal or informal, you definitely carry that energy and you definitely have that leadership quality that others look up to you, and that you, but leading by example and with integrity and with truth and from the heart, you really, really help guide others. You're an absolute guiding light. You're incredibly skillful at it. And this is giving beginner's mind also. Like, you don't hold on to things. And again, that's back to things are accelerating so quickly right now in 3D land. Like, we just had the huge AI bubble. And there are obviously limitations around that. But if that is used in service in a good way rather than for profit, a lot of good things can come forward. And I feel like you're someone who is not only purity, I'm getting from this as well, who's not only purified your good spiritual hygiene, taking care of your body, standing guard at the portal of your mind. Emerson said that, stand guard at the portal of your mind. You're someone who stewards the energies that have been bestowed upon you in this 3D life, whatever that looks like. Stewardship is a really strong theme for you, and you're leading communities, you're leading by example, and it will be up to others whether they choose to follow you or not. I want to get some advice for you from Spirit to see if there's any energies that, is recommended that you lean into at this time. Because I'm thinking of this in terms of maybe over the next few months, maybe for the next 5 or 6 months. And let's see. So the first, we've got 10 of Pentacles. So that's giving earth energy. That's giving legacy. And I feel like that's just really a confirmation that what you're creating, what you're building is here to stand. Pentacles energy is also reminding me. So we've got the Fool, and then we've got Pentacles energy. So what that's suggesting to me is that, one step at a time. Keep taking baby steps. There's no rush. You don't have to go anywhere. It's done. It's already done. Everything is happening all the time right now anyway. You don't have to rush anything. You can just trust and take your time. And it has that energy of building as well, the 10 of Pentacles. But I feel like you've already built it. Now we've got the Charity energy, which is under a canopy of stars. That's Cancer energy. And these two cards both have home. So I'm getting that you have, life is moving pretty fast. So to pace yourself, because spirit, the world, the universe is at a pace, and we need to ground ourselves so that we can keep going. You probably are experiencing ascension symptoms as well, highly likely. You've also got the Two of Cups. So that's giving me accept support and be supportive also. So it's interesting. We've got Cancer energy, we've got Pentacles energy, and we've got Cups energy, and trusting in spirit. And then Page of Swords. So a lot of potential. So that's on the Fool. So it's again suggesting that you might be at the early stages of some new stage, which actually we all are. That's just a given. But the advice is really just to trust that spirit's got this, and to take some time to ground and to really appreciate, stop and smell the roses energy, and to look at the ones in your life, that which you love, the matters of the heart, whether it be relationships, creativity, all of the above, intuition, your gifts, your psychic gifts, your guides, to really rest in the knowing that you are loved, to rest in the knowing that this is fated. This is not this cannot be taken from you. There's no need to be in any ways defensive, and that the information will come as you need it. The information will come as you need it. I think I'm going to leave it there, pile number one. This was a really, really beautiful message. Thank you for being here. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up if this resonated, or even a hype. If you'd like to never miss a message, hit the subscribe button. If you would like to work with me personally and get a private reading, the information is in the description box. At this time, you can only book with me by email. If someone approaches you in the comments or in another platform, it is not me. Block, report, or ignore. I do hope you'll feel called to subscribe, and I hope to see you in another reading. Sending you so much love, pile number one. Bye. I adore you. Welcome to your reading, pile number two. You chose this beautiful carved rose quartz rose. And you also chose this gorgeous soul card. Beautiful. So you also have Ravati, Holy in Pisces, the power to nourish. It's giving the loaves and the fishes for sure. And change. Interesting. So I got these new cards, so we're going to do your reading with these today. So we're looking at, you won't believe how much your life is about to change. So initially what I'm getting from this is definitely the loaves and the fishes, the power to transcend wealthy. And over here, I can see there's, beside this figure, like look at his head. It's got that elevated head of, let's say, the Anunnaki, or those figures that you would see in ancient carvings where they have the elevated head. And also it's reminiscent of cultures who wear, turbans or anything that would give kind of an elevation in the head. You also see it in like papal gear, where you have that crowning on the head, and that's giving, for me, like very strong crown chakra energy. And again, we have that word transcend is really jumping out at me. And of course, with Pisces, that is ruled by Neptune. And Pisces has the power to, it's the higher octave of Venus. So it's one of the outer planets. So Venus would be a personal planet about, love is one of the strong associations. It's the planet of love. But Neptune would be that higher octave, which would be that universal love, that cosmic love. And the paradigm, or the, what do we want to call it? The blueprint on 3D Earth would be Christ consciousness, if that makes sense. So let's pull one of each of these cards to go a little bit deeper and change if there's anything that is significant about this time in history. Like if you look at any of the astrological timing, we're going from the age of Pisces into the age of Aquarius. That's moving from the a lot of things are dissolving. A lot of the old structures are dissolving and making way for a more humanitarian kind of mindset and worldview. So first on your moon card, you have the waning crescent moon, the surrender, which is reminding me of hanged man energy, which is Pisces ruled. The surrender to the one thing that is constant is that change is constant. And I feel like the rate of change that is happening in the collective, that is happening in Mother Gaia, as we transcend, as we elevate, as we're receiving a lot of energy from the sun, like solar energy, solar imprints. A lot of people are waking up and becoming more conscious, and things are speeding up. Uranus rules over Aquarius, and Uranus also has that, like, it's associated with technology. So that tracks with the kinds of things that are happening with AI and humanitarianism and globalism. It's also has to do with themes like the galactic as well. So more people are talking about it. It's becoming more more mainstream. The esoteric is becoming way more mainstream. We're moving away from science versus spirituality. It's more of a homogenous, more into the Atlantean, the mystical and the scientific are dancing together. When we have this biofeedback, we're able to measure a lot more. We're able to see the differences. I'm thinking of people like Dr. Joe Dispenza, for example, where he has a lot of testimonial evidence, but they also do a lot of biofeedback in their events where they can see how that's actually physically tracking. And then, of course, in the universities, that's happening as well. So this idea of surrender to the change, letting things dissolve, letting the new come along. And I'm noticing what looks like a dragon here as well. So that's giving me fire energy, and that's giving me transformation. So you're definitely at the forefront of this transformation energy. You're surrendering to it. You're really allowing it to alchemize in yourself. You have fire. We were just talking about fire, and it's reminding me of pyramid. Pyramid literally means the fire within. And when the pyramids were built, there's a lot of technology in the pyramid. And if you look into the numerology and the math of the pyramid, there's a lot of synchronicities, which are very, very interesting. So at this time, how many thousands of years later, and we know that we don't know when the pyramids were built, which is interesting. It's reminding me of this French scientist I was listening to who was talking about antimatter and dark matter one time. I was on a flight and he was saying, the one thing that we know is that we know nothing, because we're confined by our human minds when we stay within our human minds. But when we allow ourselves to transcend the earthly, the fire, the air, the earth, and the water, when we allow ourselves to transcend those four elements and go beyond, which again is speaking to Neptune, which again is speaking to Pisces, having a change of perspective, looking at things from a different angle, transcending, having a new perception. So we've got very strong fire and very strong water. You've got the 9th house, and we were just talking about this kind of headgear that kind of really represents the bringing of that energy from above down into that spiritual energy, down into the earth plane, into the 3D. And planet is Jupiter, and Jupiter is that knowledge. It is that wisdom. It is that higher octave of fire again. So we have fire coming up here in 3 instances. And when you have fire and water, you have steam. So that's giving power. And with the change as well, that's 12, of course, is the house of Pisces. So you're really on fire in your alchemy, in your in your transcendence of this incarnation, and I don't mean that you're going to turn into a spirit and you won't need your body anymore. I'm not saying that. It's just that you have this transcendence, this perspective, like everything you do is so aligned. You're spiritual and you're temporal, you're spiritual and you're worldly, you're spiritual and you're 3D. You just have this innate understanding, and your conscious mind may not be able to grasp this yet and may not catch up. But mark my words, everything that you do on this planet, in this incarnation, is of purpose and is an expression of your soul. And I think that's been oh my gosh, we have Jupiter as well. So that's been happening over the course of many, many lifetimes. And this is just a culmination of you really being an expression of your soul. And I feel like you have really left a lot of, like, you've burned through a lot of karma. We have that idea of fire coming up again and past lives. The ninth house can be also a house where we're seeking justice from past lives as well. Jupiter again. So you've got double Jupiter here, which is, Jupiter is a teacher, elder kind of energy. And you are that energetically and aurically. That is the energy that you carry in this world as you're navigating, as you're doing the daily. And then we talked about Neptune being the higher octave of Venus, and you've got Taurus here, which is Venus ruled, and you've got the Hierophant, celestial body. So you really, and it's fixed earth, you really being that pyramid. As we move forward, we don't need the pyramids anymore with their capstones, and we don't need them to do the jobs that they did when they were first in place. We are evolving at such a rate that light codes and our physicality, our own human anatomy is being upgraded. And if you know, you know, and if you don't try and make it work. I'm going to pull some tarot for you and go a little bit deeper. But really what I'm seeing is not just an expansion in conscience, which I feel like you've been working on for lifetimes. You're very wise, but I see it as kind of a culmination of that right now. And I feel like you're a guiding light for, I don't want to overstate it, but for your community, let's say, in how to navigate the world as an expression of your soul's integrity. So anything on a cellular level, on an emotional level, you're still going to have your ups and your downs. You're still a human incarnate, a soul incarnate in a human body. So you're going to still have your minor arcana that you have to navigate. You're still going to have thoughts that come up, that your intrusive thoughts that come up that you're going to have to alchemize and deal with. You're still going to have bills to pay that you're going to have to navigate and deal with and manage. You're still going to have cups, your things that you want to create, relationships that you want to be in, that you are navigating. But you're doing that from such a spiritually integrated place, is what I want to say. And I feel like, and then of course with the Wands energy, that's the energy that gets you out of bed. And it's not so much, fire is not so much an element in itself as it is a process. So you have a lot of fire here on your reading. I feel like you're probably a catalyst in a lot of people's life, and you may irritate their demons because you're so bright. I'm getting that idea of what I'm seeing now is a vampire, and not saying that the people in your life are vampires, but you will come across energy vampires. You will come across people who like, oh no, you do it for me because you're so strong, because you're so wise, because you have so much. People who don't want to do the work sometimes. And sometimes it's unconscious. And again, that's that idea of Pisces. I have to be honest, like a lot of the Pisces that I've known in my life have been really, I've heard several of them say to me, well, you know, my Taurus looks after me. My sister is a Taurus and she takes care of me. My insert relationship here is, you know, I get to be flighty and like away with the fairies, and then I rely on the fixed person in my life to kind of be my rock. And we're moving away from that. We're moving away where everybody has to be their own rock. We're all having to, in the age of Aquarius, we're moving away from Pisces, which is that kind of parent-child relationship, that codependence, because we're all becoming adults in the room in the age of Aquarius. And those old patriarchal structures are dissolving and moving away, and there's not space for that. Even you see it in more of the collective. With AI coming online, people are still needed and still required. It's not like we're going to be replaced by machines or anything overnight, but there's a different approach to how people work. And look at the amount of the next, like when I say the next generation, but the generations who are coming of age now, how many of them are, they have their own businesses, or they don't go traditional paths and move away from the fixed traditional. I mean, gone are the days where the company man, somebody would go into a company and work there for their entire lives. Like those days, you don't hear about that so often anymore. You have disappointment. We have the fish here again. You have circumspection. This is the 5 of Cups. This is the 8 of Pentacles. Son of Earth, that is the Knight of Pentacles. So a lot of grounding energy. This is the 9 of Swords, cruelty, Wheel of Fortune, and the Universe, which is the World card. So I feel like you've had your share of disappointments for sure, because you're now learning that, long term just doesn't seem to be something, because of the rate of change, because of technology, because of how the world is evolving, because that we're moving through that cycle. You have already walked that path where you have seen abundance go, things drying up overnight, and you've been resilient and resourceful enough. I'm getting the idea of those people who can really reinvent themselves. So I'm getting that magician energy for you. And then 8 of Pentacles, 8 of Earth. It's my whistle while you work card. It's after the 7 of Pentacles, which for me is the patience card, needing to have patience and not seeing any fruition. So you've been in a stage where you have, having probably heard a lot of like, oh, just have patience and divine timing. But now you're at a stage where I feel like the work that you're putting in, you're getting more enjoyment out of it and more traction. And again, that's the alignment, the coherence with the heart and the head, the spiritual with the groundedness. And you have an understanding. And of course, with the Knight of Pentacles, it is the slowest moving knight in the deck. It is that, one foot after the other. And you're not trying to rush the process, because you know that everything is happening now at all times anyway, that what is for you will not pass you. There's no benefit to rushing the process. There's no benefit to reaping rewards that are not yours and taking from somebody else because, stealing valor or accolades or resources. Like if you're not getting them through your own merit, it doesn't have the same sense of satisfaction and engagement. It's just like your heart's not in it. And then with the Knight of Swords, that traditionally, like here we've got cruelty. I really, I'm a huge animal advocate, and the day where we can do our technology without having to go through what we do currently to get our answers, I'm here for that for sure, and I'm sure many of you are. The Wheel of Fortune, things are changing. I feel like you've had very many nights where you were misunderstood, or people were coming for you because they didn't understand how you were, and because again, you are so bright that you have irritated their demons. So you have this duality, but it's kind of an integration and a transcendence, I want to say. The Wheel of Fortune followed by the universe. I mean, come on. The wheel is turning. So you might have been in a period of stagnation. Again, Pisces energy can be that, being in a period of stagnation. The change is reminding me of the Wheel of Fortune as well, and Pisces. So I feel like the wheel is turning for you. And you're not averse to doing the work. In fact, you're kind of like, why would I not want to do the work? I'm here to live. I'm here to play. I'm here to learn. I'm here to experience. I'm here to share. I'm here to engage, from the Nine of Swords. So I feel like you might be a really guiding light to some people who are going to be facing disappointment, who are going to need to work hard, who are going to recognize that they're not going to be able to rely on, again, the company man. They're not going to be able to rely on structures that have been there for a long time, and structures are coming down and people are changing. So even relationships. So I feel like you might be a really strong support system or inspiration to people who are experiencing that level of anxiety. I feel like you've been through your own level of anxiety and disappointment, but now you have really alchemized it, and you are, again, here, the wealthy star. You're the power to nourish. You're very nourishing to other people, energetically and emotionally. We've got the Five of Wands here. So again, I feel like conflict is coming up for a lot of people. I don't feel like it's, obviously there's going to be people who are not going to want to change and get on board and go with the times. And they will always create conflict, and they will always prefer to almost stay in conflict. You know the type I'm talking about, that they'd rather stay stagnant and in conflict rather than move on to something else. So you'll still have to deal with those kind of people, and they'll still have to deal with themselves. Then we've got the Four of Cups. So I feel like, you know, not everyone is going to want to work with spirit. Not everyone is going to want to ascend. There's going to be a lot of people who just want to sit there with their arms folded and want things to stay the same. And you don't have to stick around and work with those people. There will be plenty of people who will actually, like finding your tribe, who will want to move forward. You've got the King of Cups over the Knight of Pentacles. The King of Cups. The King of Cups is, you know, the master of intuition, the master of emotions. So I feel like you've really had a lot of experience in really mastering depth and emotion. And I feel like also, this is coming through as well. So I feel like your psychic gifts might really be off the charts, but because they've been happening at such a slow pace, one foot after the other, and also because they're so natural to you and you've been building them up over time, and because of all this time that where things didn't seem like they were moving, but they were moving on such a gradual pace that you probably won't realize how much tuned in, tapped in, turned on you are until you actually notice it. And I feel like it will be really noticeable to other people. And it's, again, back to what I was saying at the beginning. You're so integrated that I don't actually think that you realize how psychic you are. Now we've got the Five of Cups. So that is double Five of Cups. And we've got that over the anxiety card. That's really reiterating to me that you are a wealth of support for people who want to learn how to deal with their disappointment. If they don't, you're not required to set yourself on fire to keep other people warm. The Knight of Wands, very creative. This is reminding me of the Soul card, the salamanders on his tunic. Here, the fire energy. You're incredibly creative. You're incredibly plugged into that spirituality energy. You're incredibly gifted and incredibly gifted at grounding it here. And again, we have that idea of walking away from things that maybe you had an emotional investment in. And this is again reminding me of, that idea of transience, transcendence. So things dissolving and not working in the long term. That death energy. So sometimes it's appropriate to walk away from things that are no longer serving us, that are no longer nourishing to us. And sometimes that can be relationships, but it doesn't always have to be. It could be, a creative project that like goes really well and it burns bright, and then, it sees the end of it runs its course, and then you move on to something else. So it's that regeneration kind of energy. Really, really beautiful. For some reason, I'm being called to take one of these. Sub Rosa. Hidden in plain sight, mysteries, learning and teaching. So that's really giving me, again, hidden in plain sight. You're so integrated spiritually, intuitively, psychically with your 3D world that I think it's probably hidden to you. You don't actually see how integrated you are and how much you actually operate by your intuition. Also, mysteries, learning and teaching. It's giving High Priestess, and it's also reiterating Jupiter energy for me again. So you have that. Not only are you always learning, and you're probably working as you get further through your own process, there's always things to learn, but you might find yourself more interested in going within in the hermit energy and connecting with, your higher intuition. Again, we have Neptune, Jupiter, like connecting with the higher collective, if that makes sense. I think I'm going to leave it there, pile number 2. This is really beautiful energy. What I see for you, you won't believe how life is about to change for you, is that I just really feel that you're going to have a sense of peace. And I think where it will really show for you is that, like, you might get to the stage where you're seeing a lot of people like lose their shiz around you in a way that you're like, okay, so the sky is falling in, kind of, but you're just so much better able to navigate the change than other people. And I feel like that's really going to be a strength for you. And I feel like you're going to be able to build in the chaos, whereas other people might not be. And because of that, I feel like if you want to channel that in a way that's, let's say, for example, if you wanted to put that into a business format, I feel like you could do that. It would be very successful for you because there's going to be such a need with all the change, and people are going to be experiencing conflict, disappointment, change that's happening at such a fast pace that they're going to be not able to keep up. But you're so experienced and you're so tuned in that you'll really be able to help them with that. And you'll also be able to generate wealth from it. So that's how I think how much is going to change for you. And of course, it's all optional. It's up to you how you want to navigate that. So pile number 2, I'm going to leave it there. I hope to see you at another reading. This completes your message. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up or even a hype if this message resonated. If you'd like to never miss a message, hit the subscribe button. If you would like to work with me personally and get a private reading, the details are in the description box. At this time, you can only book with me via email. If someone approaches you in the comments or another platform, it is not me. So you can block, you can report, you can ignore. I do hope you'll feel called to subscribe. I absolutely adore you, and I hope to see you in another reading. Bye, pile number 2. I absolutely adore you. This is incredible energy, and thank you for being here on this channel, and thank you for incarnating at this time. Take care, pile number 2. Hello, pile number 3. Welcome to your reading. You chose this stunning piece of malachite. So beautiful and so serene. And you also chose the soul card, this one, with this figure holding a branch, a tree, a staff. Gorgeous. You have consciousness, and you have Purva Bhadrapada for your nakshatra card. I've also got these new cards that I got on Etsy, so I'm excited to use them in your reading today. I pre-shuffled because we would be here forever, because I wanted to take one from each pile. So we'll get into it. So straight away, this is giving me shaman energy. And with the malachite, it always reminds me of the rings in the trees. And she's holding what looks like a staff or a branch or a tree. And I was immediately drawn to that. The colors are also very earthy on the bottom. And at the top, we have those more ethereal colors around the crown chakra. And it's really giving me witchy, shamanistic vibes. Medicine woman, that kind of thing. And then we've got consciousness. The frequency of consciousness supports our ability to focus our attention on all the multi-dimensional aspects that show up, so we can include them in our reality. So all three piles have had this theme of like bringing down, as above, so below, as within, so without, as with the universe, so with the soul. That, you know, we are transcending ethereal energy beyond the 3D, higher dimensional energy, and downloading it and grounding it and building in this 3D earth, making it manifest. And of course, your pile 3. And these two cards really echo that for me. And then over with Purva Bhadrapada, you have got Aquarius into Pisces. So you're at the end of this karmic zodiac cycle, towards the end of the zodiac cycle, because Pisces is the last, and there's a nakshatra after this, or maybe even 2, don't quote me on that. But this is the former happy feet, and it's also paired with Uttara Bhadrapada as well. So it's kind of that idea of duality as well. The scorching or burning star, fierce, severe, passive. What's really drawing to me here is the air energy. Like there's a precisional energy about what's coming in for you, or the energy that you are in now. The power to use spiritual fire. So what I'm getting really is like, I don't want to say a controlled burn, because it's not even that. It's more like a laser. It's more like concentrated fire, concentrated energy. And of course, a laser, what is it? It's concentrated light. That's all it is. And of course, what is anything? It's concentrated energy. When we talk about the 3D, it's just that things move really, really slowly here. And that's why things are so dense. So you probably have a lot of downloads that are happening. And in order to be able to bring them manifest, like it might seem really slow moving to you, which would echo kind of the Piscean energy that's showing up here. The power to use spiritual fire. I feel like a lot of spiritual people are very powerful. And when I say spiritual people, we're all spiritual people. But having access to that power, sometimes we face a lot of obstacles. You know that phrase where they say, I remember hearing this when I was a child, like when you would say, well, why are there, physically challenged people? We didn't use that language when I was a child, but I'm using that here. But I would always be told, and I grew up Catholic and I grew up in Ireland, I would always be told that, God always gives the challenges to people who have the ability to deal with them, paraphrasing, of course, to explain why some people had those kind of challenges and other people did not. So I feel like a lot of very spiritually gifted people, very old souls, we choose to incarnate into lives where we're working through, like burning through karma. where we're learning our lessons, because the closer you get to the end of the, I guess, the ascension process out of 3D, and it doesn't mean that you're better or worse than anybody else. It's not that, because as we know, and I say this all the time in my readings, that, you know, this is one avatar, this is one aspect, this is one experience of our soul. And as we're ascending, what we're doing is we're making conscious the unseen and the invisible. And I feel like this is an incredibly powerful skill to have. The air energy is giving me that skill, that precision, that surgical use of the mental energy. So you're probably an incredibly gifted manifester, but you may have faced a lot of obstacles in order to kind of, I'm hearing iron sharpens iron. And you would also want a worthy adversary. And when I mean adversary, it's giving, it's so interesting because we have the two sides. We have the two faces here. And, you know, I'm getting that image of like the angel on one shoulder and the devil on the other shoulder. But what really that is that aspects of ourself. So it's that internal conflict. It's the Bhagavad Gita. It's like, how do I rise up through my own egoic existence, through my own body, through my own emotions, through my own mentality? And how do I make decisions that are for the highest and greatest good of all and for myself? It's giving a lot of duality again, as above, so below. We've got the earth and we've got the air, and that's masculine energy and feminine energy. So a lot of interesting stuff happening here. I'm going to pull some tarot for you, and then we'll go a little bit deeper into the message. But really, I think what you won't believe how your life is about to change. I feel like it's the skill at which you will really be able to meet that egoic self, or meet that intrusive thought, or meet that selfish, separate self that rises up within you, and you're able to just meet yourself with compassion and with love and with wisdom, and you're able to rise above the alchemize what you need to alchemize. And I'm actually seeing I'm seeing two things. I'm seeing like the internal conflict. And what I was going to say previously was the devil and the angel on your shoulder. So both aspects of ourself, and we're seeing that reiterated here with the two faces, like our egoic self and our spiritual self. To simplify it, it's not that ego is bad and spiritual is good. It's all in the mix there. But it's what energy is navigating and making the decisions. And everybody has a seat at the table. And there's that idea that we are all co-creating our own existence. And if you follow on from that logic, or from that knowing, or from that cognition, claircognition, then obviously the angel on the shoulder and the devil on the shoulder are both aspects of ourselves. And the worthy adversary that we're really facing ultimately is ourselves. It doesn't mean that we're not going to meet other people who are walking similar paths, who are also really possibly highly skilled at using this fire, but you may meet people who decide to go with the lower natures rather than go with the higher natures, to get ahead, to win, to steal, those kinds of things. I hope I'm making sense. You've got the Five of Swords, which is interesting. That is it's like having that it's kind of rooster blocking energy. Like I'm hearing that from War Games, that movie way back, where the computer game is playing and it's about to launch, I think a nuclear missile or something, but it's Matthew Broderick, and the computer says the only way to win is not to play. So I feel like you're learning to turn the other cheek more and more, and you're not being drawn into engagements that just go nowhere. You're like, okay, I respect your right to You can phrase it however you want. I respect your right to be at the level that you're at. I respect your right to be the a-hole in this situation. Take it however you want to take it, given on the circumstances or on the situation. But you're on a path of elevation, and you're building, and you're connecting with Mother Gaia on just a more visceral level than previously, probably. You might be drawn to shamanic studies. You might even be someone who's engaged in shamanic. You've got the magician energy, and the magician is the master. He's the embodiment of all four kings. Again, it's the masculine aspect, counterpart being the high priestess, which is coming through with the consciousness card, which is interesting. And the seven, the 1 and the 7 is giving 8, which is also giving me the strength card, which again is depicted with a female. And you have that mastery over the base energies in that. And the magician has mastery over the 3D elements. And you have that. You have all the tools that you need to be able to build. But I'm really feeling like that with this power to manifest, you want to be, what I'm trying to say is you want to be responsive rather than reactive. And in order to be responsive rather than reactive, we need to be adept in our air energy. We need to be the magician. We need to have mastery over our emotions, over our thoughts. We need to have mastery over our physicality, over the earth. We need to have mastery over how we use our fire, our will, how we exercise our free will. And I feel like you really have done that. And how do we do that? We do that with practice. And I'm remembering this book that I read years and years ago, and it was called Emotional Toughness for Sports. And I remember it was saying that, you know, emotions are like muscles. The ones that we practice the most become the strongest. So if you can practice gratitude, if you can practice emotions that make you feel more expansive than things like anger and resentment and things that make you feel contracted, things that make you feel hard done by. It's not saying that you shouldn't pay attention to them and you're bad if you have those emotions. What it's saying is that when those emotions come up, what is it telling us, and how do we deal with it? How do we use our spiritual fire? How do we alchemize that? Some people will alchemize it by taking revenge. Other people will alchemize it by going, well, what is it in me? What decisions have I made? Who am I doing business with? Who am I letting in my space? Who am I trusting when I shouldn't be trusting? Why am I not trusting myself? All that self-inquiry, all that consciousness shadow work. And I feel like you have been doing that. And I just see, with the way things are changing, as we move from Pisces into Aquarius, a lot of things are dissolving. We talked about this, I believe, in piles 1 and pile 2 already. We're just at a really potent time and a very shifting, like things are shifting a lot in the collective. And we're all experiencing that. And some people, again, will show up with grace and will have done the practices so that they are resilient. And some people never bothered to do that, or were never forced by life to do that because they were enabled, or they were born with a silver spoon in their mouth, or insert potential circumstance here. There's going to be a lot of people who are going to want to, oh my goodness, who are going to want to hold on to things with possession. They're like, well, I built it, so it can't crumble. And I understand that, but it doesn't mean that they're not going to have a reaction, and there might be shrapnel flying around. And why I'm laughing is because the image that I was seeing was, you know, the first movie Alien, where it grabs onto the person's face. Oh my goodness, that's crazy. I don't know why that came up. So we've got Father of Air, which is the King of Swords. So he's the master of discernment. You've got the Ace of Water, which is the Ace of Cups, working with spirit. You've got the Four of Earth. We've got the tree imagery. Again, the tree imagery again reiterated here, and the very, very strong roots. And think of how long, like the rings on a tree represents every year of its life. Humans live to what, maybe 100 years. Some people live a little bit longer, but trees can live for 1,000 years. And underneath the surface, like we see what's above the surface, but beneath the surface, the root system that's happening with these trees is absolutely beautiful. And I'm now seeing the Ents in the Lord of the Rings, and they take so long to speak. They just move that kind of slow. And I'm getting that energetically for you, that you have been moving like worlds, and it's all culminating in this lifetime. And we're at a precipice point where things are dissolving and falling apart. And your ability to use spiritual fire in a high ordered, highly calibrated, very intentional way is what's really changing for you. And you'll notice it. Conflict. This came up in the last pile as well. And conflict is over the Five of Swords. So this is the Five of Wands. And that's traditionally competition and conflict. So again, I'm seeing that you might have a lot of people trying to get you into a conflict because they don't know another way to be. But you're well and truly able to. I'm hearing that song, The Fool on the Hill. I think it's an old Beatles song. I know Shirley Bassey covered it years later. Then you have got the Three of Abundance, which is the Three of Cups. That's the Besties card. But in this deck, it's depicted as three waterfalls. Really, really gorgeous. So that's really iterating for me that part of what you're working with is these shamanic ancient energies that have been around for thousands and thousands of years, but we kind of got a little bit caught up in the whole computer, industrial, very masculine. If I can't count it, if I can't see it, it doesn't exist. And we're now coming back into a reawakening of consciousness about what we don't see. And you also have the Ace of Air, which is clarity. So you've got two aces. So I feel like you will be looked at as somebody who is clear about what they're doing and where they're going. And you will be able to offer that to other people. We also have the Three of Swords. So that can be an emotional release. And that's actually after the Three of Abundance and the clarity, you might have some things that you're still purging out of your system to be able to move into this space. I feel like you might have already had the emotional release, to be honest, or maybe you're still working through emotional release, because it can be a card of betrayal. And I feel like you, again, have alchemized that betrayal, and you have been discerning. You've learned who your besties are, or at least what kind of energies you want to be in your bestie circle. It doesn't mean that you want to eradicate people off the planet. It just means that who you have in your inner circle are going to be someone that you're not going to need to face this energy with. And you're becoming more tuned in through your body. I feel like you will feel it in your body, but also I'm getting really strong clairsentience for you, claircognition for you, clairaudience for you, again with the I'm getting throat chakra here. A lot of confidence in your gifts. You also have the Ten of Pentacles. So I feel like what you are bringing forth in this next stage is more designed to be for this next stage. It will be, so how do I want to put this? I feel like we're moving away from a time when things had a really long shelf life, and things have more of a shorter shelf life at this point. And I feel like you will be able, legacy is going to look different. And I feel like you're going to be very adept at building legacy, but it's just going to look different than how it did before, if that makes sense. You've got the Six of Cups. The Six of Cups, I feel like that's a card of nostalgia. It's also a card of, a person giving to another person. I feel like your inner child is much more. I'm seeing Pocahontas going over the waterfall, and she's like, "Wee!" Your inner child feels much more aligned with this kind of, I don't want to say transient, but cyclical energy that's coming in. You have the card of Temperance. We were talking about alchemization, and this is the card. This is Angel Gabriel, I believe, in the Temperance card. And you have wings of fire on this angel. I feel like you're just so good at the emotional release through chop wood, carry water, through the circumstances. I had a teacher once that used to say the circumstances of our life are the curriculum of our evolution. And I feel like I'm hearing Madeline Bailey's song, if you were to take a test, you'd probably get 1 million, billion, trillion %. And I feel like in this instance, how you have navigated what has been thrown at you, and not just in this lifetime, I feel like over lifetimes, you're really a guiding light to people. You're very skilled, and you're very clear, and you're very, bursts. Aces are bursts of raw energy. So we've got it here in the cup suit, very, very loving and really open to, like, you're a channel for spirit. You're a channel for that Christ consciousness energy. You're a channel for that divine energy. We all are, but your channel, you've opened your channel. And then with clarity, that's giving me Ace of Air. That's giving me Archangel Michael as well. Archangel Gabriel. So a lot of truth, a lot of knowing who you are, a lot of meeting people where they are, but not necessarily. Aquarius is the water bearer. And I'm hearing, it was Eleanor Roosevelt said, all the water in the world cannot drown me unless I let it in. Oh my goodness. And to finish your tarot cards, you have got the Sun. So you are really opening up and becoming a light for others. I did forget to pull these cards. You have got New Moon, the seeding, plant what you desire, limitless possibilities, symbolic portal to manifestations. Yeah, I feel like, again, I was talking with the magician here, just being so adept with how you navigate your thought processes and your energy, that what you seed leads to long-term legacy. But again, I feel like that legacy is going to look different. You have Fixed. So again, that's on the legacy card. So what I'm getting from that is you're going to, again, have some permanence, but permanence is going to look different. Permanence is going to be that consciousness, which is on consciousness. It's going to be, I know who I am. I am an immutable soul. Nobody can take from me what is for me. Earthly doesn't mean illusion. We call it Maya, but illusion's not quite the right word for me, because that gives an idea that it's not real and it didn't happen. It just means, for me, I'm seeing The Prestige now, that movie, and they describe what the prestige in magic is. So there's the prestige is the moment where you see the trick, where you pull the rabbit out of the hat or whatever. But there's all this other stuff that's happening in the background. And I feel like that's what the Maya is. Like, we just see one tiny speck of the energy. We can see it and we can feel it and we can taste it and we can touch it and we can perceive it with our 5 senses. But I feel like you're expanding into, well, you already have way more senses, but I feel like the collective is also expanding into more senses. And I feel like you will be really a good guide to show people how it is that you can navigate in this world. What is fixed and what is immutable is our souls. We are all part of one collective, irrespective of what stage of the journey we're on and where we're at. You have got the 7th house. So that's the card ruled by Venus. And it's relationships. It's one-to-one relationships. And I feel like you will be you will be a guiding light again to people. But that one-to-one relationship might not be, it can show up in different forms. We can be spouses, which means that we're partners. We could be a parent and child, which means that one of us has the power over the other person, but we still should show up heart to heart. We could be a boss and an employee. We could be, we could be siblings, again, where it should be more of an equal relationship. But whoever holds the power dynamic should be someone in the Aquarian heart set, in the Aquarian mindset, be an empowering person, not to dominate over the other person, which is very Piscean. And again, that's back to the power to use spiritual energy well. Because you have it doesn't mean that you're going to dominate over somebody. You have South Node from the planet cards, even though the South Node itself is not a planet, but it carries Fool energy. And again, that is the Aquarian energy reiterated. The South Node is using what you already have built up and known and moving towards, your destiny, your soul's mission. And Taurus, you have double Venus here. Venus it's the planet of love. You are moving from this beautiful heart space, and this is giving me heart chakra with the green. You're moving from this, beautifully grounded, and Taurus is earth too. So you have this beautiful blend of the earthly elements from the heart space, I'm just seeing a beautiful alignment throughout all your chakras and all the chakras that you have the ability to connect into. I think there's 22 or something, but don't quote me on that. This is really beautiful energy. I feel like what is changing for you is just an ease in how you navigate this and an awareness to be able to deal with things as they come up and also build and also create long term. But long term will probably be a series of steps. We can't see, when you're 22, you can't see how life is going to be when you're 82. That kind of thing. This completes your message pile number 3. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up or hype if this message resonated. If you'd like to never miss a message, hit the subscribe button. If you'd like to work with me personally and receive a personal reading, details are in the description box. At this time, you can only book with me via email. If someone approaches you in the comments or another platform, that is not me. You can block, you can report, you can ignore. And I hope to see you at another reading. Bye, pile number 3. Sending you so much love.